Okay, so I'm going to be making potato pancakes, and Holly and I, my wife Holly and I, we both have family history of our parents grew up in the prairies, and potatoes was a really big part of staple of their childhood and growing up and stuff like that. So it was part of ours. So we love potato pancakes. So I'm going to start off. This can be a small batch because usually I do a lot more than this. I'm going to start off with about 2, good size baker potatoes, and we're going to start off. We're going to peel these, and then we're going to grate them up. And
okay.
Just peeling them, getting the skins off, and got the potatoes peeled. So because I'm going to be doing these in the grinder, in the meat grinder, I'm going to cut them up into kind of long slices so that they'll feed into the meat grinder. Okay, I got the meat grinder set up. I'm using the coarse cutter for what I'm going to be doing with the potatoes. Another option is you can grate this with a grater, but I grew up on the prairie. This is the way my mom did it, so this is the way it's done.
My mom did it,
and the way Holly's mom did it. So it actually, putting it through the meat grinder does produce a better batter. If you grate it, you're going to end up more with like a hash type of pancake. So this will get noisy, but
shut it off.
We'll be shutting the video off and let it go. Okay, so I got the potato ground up through the meat grinder, and what I usually do is I'll put it into a strainer for a little bit so that the starch liquid and stuff will work its way out. You can rinse it if you want, but I don't bother rinsing it. I just get as much of the starch liquid out as I can. In this case, we just ground up the potatoes. Normally, we would grind up and add like a medium-sized onion as well, but Holly's stomach is no longer doing good with onion, so we don't add onion. But if you're good with onion, I highly recommend grinding an onion up as well. Potatoes have been drained. For those 2 medium to large size roasting potatoes, I normally add about 3 medium-sized eggs. 2 large eggs, 3 medium-sized eggs. So I'm going to add my egg mixture in to my potato. Double heaping teaspoon. I'm probably adding 4 tablespoons, of flour at least. And I'm going to check this out so far. So I'm going to add some more flour, and I'm probably going to add another couple of good heaps. You need to have the flour in there to act as a binder with the potato. If not, when you go to flip your potato pancakes are just going to kind of fall apart on you. So that's why you need to use the flour and the egg to act as a binder. So I would guess in total with what I probably added for flour for these 2 medium-sized potatoes would be about the equivalent of at least 1/3 cup of flour in there. So what you're after is just like a nice, kind of like almost an oatmeal cookie type of batter that you would just drop onto a pan. I haven't made oatmeal cookies for a long time, but I think that's about what it looks like. I really don't have a recipe for this because I just add in some salt, fresh ground sea salt. How much? To taste. I would go more, but always not as much of a salt fan as I am. I'll add some fresh ground pepper as well. I love pepper. Never have enough fresh ground pepper. Alright, so we're all mixed up. Batter's ready. Now I'm going to get my pan going. Okay, I'm Canadian, eh?
Okay.
And got my frying pan up to temperature. I got it set probably about what would be considered between 6 and 7. I usually start off around 7 for heat and probably lower it down around 6 after I get into things a bit more. You want to use an oil that can take a lot of heat. So I use coconut oil. You can also use avocado oil. And then you're going to take your batter. Always give it a bit of a good mix. And you're looking at making yourself about, in a pan this size, I usually go with 3 pancakes. You want to have a good amount of oil in there. And I guess these probably measure about 4 inches in diameter in this pan. And for a thickness, I'd say they're probably in the range of a 1/4 inch or maybe a little bit more. So as they're cooking, and what I usually do is try to like level it out a little bit, so when you flip them, that there's a little bit more consistent flatness to them. Just a little peek underneath to see how they're doing. They're not quite there for flipping, but they're getting really close. Depending on the way your burners are on your stove, sometimes you might want to rotate them a little bit after they start cooking so that they cook evenly. Okay, I'm going to give it a go. If you flip them too early, you can always flip them over again. That looks to me just about just right. Okay, these are looking like they're probably just about done. I'm going to give them a little bit of a flip and a check. That looks just perfect, perfect. All right, so at that point what I do is I put them into a pie plate. And set them into the oven.
Except that's at 375.
And I carry on because it's a bit of a process. So here we go, adding a little bit more olive oil, or not olive. No, don't use olive oil. That's the oil I was trying to think of earlier. Olive oil won't take the heat. Coconut oil.
It's actually one of the better ones, but not as good as avocado or...
Avocado oil is good too. I like using coconut oil. All right. So as you can see, when I'm putting the batter on there, it's kind of a little bit high-ish. So what I do is I take the spoon, kind of like pat it on down until I get it to that right thickness. And after, about a 1/4 inch or better, a little better. Actually, these are probably okay. Second set on the second set of 3 is done. Look at that, beautiful.
Look at that.
Beautiful. If you're not drinking when you're cooking, you're just not cooking.